So I'm walking along the other day, and it occurred to me that the main identity I use to approach my fellow human beings is just plain old vanilla human. I have a lot of identities just like everybody else, and they're all nested and intersecting and whatnot, but when it comes time to actually relate to my fellow human being, I just kind of relate to them human to human. And that's not a thing that I did intentionally. That's a thing that came about as a result of monastic training and engaging with a lot of Zen literature. And so I thought I'd relate how that came about and maybe touch on a little bit of how Zen training actually works. But first, got to talk about two different ways that one's mental state can come about. So the first one is sort of a conscious, volitional, I choose to have this experience right now, arising of your mental state. And if you can do that consistently, thousands of times a day, bully, I want to meet you because you got a lot to teach me. But most people aren't having that experience. Most people actually are relatively unconscious, and so some state arises for them in any given moment. And that comes about sort of as an average of your prior experiences with similar situations, similar conditions, right? So it's a very conditioned sort of way for your state to arise. And the problem with averages is if you want to change an average, it's not sufficient to choose the experience that you want to have. So let me give a really simplified example to explain what's going on with that, just unpack that. So let's say there's some condition out in the world, some situation I keep getting into, and the way that I experience it presently, I'm going to put that about a 2. And I really, really want to have a 10. If my unconscious arising experience is an average of my past experiences, and the average of my past experiences thus far is a 2, then if I train at a 10, if I'm constantly choosing 10, then I'm going to inch up, but I end up, the name for it I guess is Zeno's paradox, right? I end up, my average gets pulled up a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, but it's never going to make it to 10 because each 10 experience I have is weighted down by all of these 2s. So if you really want to get to a 10, what you really need to do is start choosing a 20. Go to the other extreme, and then your average will quickly be pulled along, and when you find that it's landed where you want to be, then boom, you're ready to go, and then you can just drop back to experiencing a 10. So relating that to actual human experience, what happened for me is I'm cruising along, I went to go live in a monastery, and I've got the standard assortment of identities, right? So I'm like, I'm male, I'm black, I'm straight, I'm from California, and I'm an American, I'm a city dweller, I'm all of these different things that in different situations I might bring to interacting with my fellow human being. And I go there and I'm coming to grips with some Zen Buddhist texts, and Zen methods are a little inscrutable, so it can get this like mystery around it, but it's not. There's no mystery. There's no magic. It's actually really straightforward, practical, pragmatic, effective teaching techniques. And what's going on here is I've got all these identities. I'm reading the Diamond Sutra, and the Diamond Sutra is all about the sort of the Bodhisattva vow, which is I'm going to save all beings. So I'm going to continuously cause myself to be reborn into suffering over and over and over again, so I can actually pull all beings out of this suffering experience. And they're sort of the rear guard of enlightenment. And the definition for being is super expansive. So the Buddha in the Diamond Sutra is talking about whether they have form or no form, whether they can create perceptions or not create perceptions, if they're born from an egg or a womb, or if they're born from, out of pure nothingness, all of these different things. And so it becomes, if you're really engaging with it, a situation where literally everything you're looking at is a being, right? So like the faucet is a being, the cup is a being, the rock is a being, the door is a being, and you have to treat every single one of them with respect and reverence so that you can help them become enlightened and save them from suffering. Which, if you take that as a practical way to interact with the world, is madness. But if you are training, that's your 20. And what the effect of that is the actual beings which make up the world then become sort of opportunities to express care and nurture, and that's your 10, right? So you go to this sort of zany place and you try your best to really make that your conscious choice, so that your unconscious arising situation becomes, oh, there's another person. Well, that person's also a human being, so how can I be kind to them? How can I be respectful to them? And so that's how it ended up for me. And that's not something that I ever even, made a choice about, because I didn't realize as I was engaging with that stuff what the purpose was, really. It just seemed crazy, but then all of a sudden my life was different and I was having a different experience, and I didn't really put it into words until I was walking around the other day and went, oh, yeah, that's what happened there, and that's why it happened. Okay, all that time that I spent envisioning rocks as my friends that I wanted to help, oh, it actually produced this effect that when I encounter another person, my first impulse is, oh, okay, hey, you and I, we have something in common. How can we both be having a positive experience? So that was just fun little realization, and hopefully if anybody is out there trying to engage with some Zen texts and they seem crazy, really they seem crazy. You read Zen Flesh, Zen Bones, or some other kind of introductory text, and it's like, what is going on here? That's a piece of it. That's what's going on, is that they're trying to pull you way above your targeted experience, right? Whatever is good in the experience you want to have, they want to take you to the extreme of that, so that it drags up your average experience, so that on those occasions when you're unconscious, when you're not able to pay attention and mindfully choose the experience you want to have, it's still a good experience. That's what it's about. You gotta train beyond your target, and then you'll get there. Peace.